Alright, so before we get started in today's video, I just want to say a huge shout out to GrimmSpeed for getting involved with the WRX project and sending out all these awesome parts for us to install. Let's go ahead and run through all the parts they sent us. We have the silicone radiator hoses, we have the Hella horn bracket, this is the Hella horn wiring harness, these are Hella horns, we have a front license plate delete, we have an air to oil separator, which Karma likes to be smelling. So this is all going to be installed over the next couple days. So if you want to see all this stuff, smash that subscribe button.
What is up, everybody? It's your boy Mickey back here again with another WRX install for you. This time we've got the air to oil separator, and it is from our boys at GrimmSpeed. I don't have the box anymore, but this is the kit. So basically this mounts where your oil cap used to be. So we've got our oil cap here. We're going to remove this cap. And our GrimmSpeed part is going to sit. It's actually threads into the oil cap location. So many of you are probably asking, what does an air oil separator even do? An air oil separator actually takes the blow-by oil that would be normally deposited back into your intake system, and it basically takes it, and this kit puts it back into the oil filler, so oil fill neck. So basically it's separating the air and the oil by putting the oil back in the fill neck instead of depositing into your intake manifold. It's actually a really good setup, and it helps eliminate a lot of the deposits that you would find inside of your engine after, you know, 80,000 miles or whatever. So I'm no scientist, but I know this works, so we're gonna go ahead and install it. Thank you to GrimmSpeed for sending over this kit. We got a bunch of goodies from them that we'll be installing over the course of this project. And if you guys aren't aware, this car, the Subaru WRX that we're working on, this car is actually going to be given away to one of our lucky VIP members. So if you aren't a VIP at Throtl, go sign up. There are a lot of perks, and one of them is we give away cars. All right, I'm going to start by installing the GrimmSpeed air oil separator, the main unit here. I'm going to go ahead and leave it loose for now until we kind of get it situated. Went ahead and watched the GrimmSpeed video online. They mentioned that this thing should be clocked at about the 11 o'clock position, and it should be, you should be able to pull out your dipstick when it's mounted. So that looks like a good position right there. However, we're going to wait to button it up and tighten it down until we've got all of our lines routed. We're going to start with the first line, which is this one here, and this is basically a line that is a ventilation line for the intake system, and we're going to go ahead and pull that line off, and it connects down here at the bottom, as you can see there. What we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate this line from what was originally in this position. We're going to rotate it to this position, and we're going to cut it here. The reason we're going to cut it here is we're going to put a 1/2 inch coupler in here, and we're going to route some of this bulk hose that they've given us over to the air oil separator. It's going to go to the first provision on the GrimmSpeed oil air separator. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this. I think if I route this underneath the throttle cables and situate it back on here, I think if I cut it right about here, it's got a nice angle and I can route it directly over to here. So let's go ahead and do that. The razor blade, clean this up. All right, 1/2 inch coupler. We're gonna go ahead and thread this in to there. Now that we've got that on, we're gonna go ahead and stick this back where it belongs. There. Now actually, we should be able to route this right underneath our cover here, which will be nice and tidy. It'll go under there, and it'll come out this side and go straight to here. So I'm gonna go ahead and size up a piece of this hose. I brought the whole reel over. but I need to figure out how much exactly we need. So I'm gonna pull this free. I'm gonna go here, about there. It looks like about, I'd guess about 14 inches. And I will cut that on the table here after I mark it. Yeah, no worries. So we've got our extra piece of hose here. Gonna go ahead and thread that on to the 1/2-inch coupler that we have here. That's how that looks. And we're gonna go ahead and feed that back down here onto the pipe and route that under the belt cover. And bingo, we got here's the first line, runs under here and then down. And we're gonna go ahead and tackle the second line, which is gonna come from this hard line here. It's gonna come from the hard line. It's gonna trace its way over to the second bung on the GrimmSpeed Air oil separator. This line I've already cut. I already measured it and cut it, because I knew we were gonna need it. So this line's gonna go from there. We're also gonna route that under the Perrin belt cover and route that into the air oil separator at the second provision. So I'm gonna go ahead and hook that up now. Get that on there. All right. We'll run this underneath the throttle cables, as we mentioned earlier. Probably go ahead and zip tie all this stuff together when we're done, make it all nice and tidy. This is gonna pop into the factory hose holder. I'll push that guy on. Hey, look at that. Nice. So that doesn't look too out of the ordinary. I mean, definitely adding some hoses in here, but all in all, I feel like it's not that bad of a look. For the third line, we're gonna go ahead and tap in here. This is off of the turbo. Our turbo sits right here. This is a turbo inlet housing. And basically what we're gonna do is we're gonna pull this hose off of this white fitting. We're gonna cap this white fitting with the vacuum cap that was given with the kit. Looks like this. It's a 1/2-inch vacuum cap. And essentially, I'm probably gonna cut half of this away. It doesn't need to be that long. But we're basically gonna turn this hose and reroute it over to the third provision on the GrimmSpeed Air oil separator. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop that off now. Maybe. It's a little difficult with one hand. There we go. The cap on while we've got it apart. We'll measure that up. We can cut it about here. That'll get us nice and flush. Okay, we'll toss a zip tie on that so that it doesn't come loose. Grab my trusty zip tie cutters, flush cuts. Make that a nice flush cut so that when I reach my hand down in the bay later, I don't cut it on that. See, it's nice and smooth on there. Now we'll take this back over and reinstall it. This guy goes in here like so. And then this is the hose that we're going to, this hose here is the one we're going to reroute over to the catch. And this one will just terminate over here with a cap on it and plug it back in. All right, I've gone ahead and cut the neck off of that hose, clipped that off, so now it's able to be turned in the right direction. I went ahead and inserted the 1/2-inch coupler to extend this hose, and it'll route this way over to the catch can. Now, the trick is do we want to leave this hose exposed, or do we want to run it under the intercooler and blow-off valve system and intake system? Normally I would be down to run it underneath. Unfortunately, I don't think there's a whole lot of room under there, so I'm gonna go ahead and try, but I'm not gonna hold my breath on this one. There it is. Hey, we did it. We did it, we did it, we did it. All right, gonna go ahead and bring this through. It's gonna need a little bit of help here. Twist it a little funky. This is really difficult with one hand, guys. I'm not sure I've ever done an install like this with one hand before. One thing we want to make sure of is that it's not pinched, and it definitely feels like it might be. Oh, there we go. All right, we're good. Now we can cut this. We've got it routed all the way through. We've got a nice bend on it here where it's not hitting our throttle cable. Those work just fine. It's not kinked. And we're running under the intercooler. That's awesome. So we'll plug her in right there. So I can go ahead and cut this hose, mark it here, cut it, and this will be a fairly simple install. It's nice that they gave extra, because a lot of times you end up coming up short. So there we have it. I'm gonna go ahead and tighten this down. I know that's a 19 millimeter, just a good 19. You gotta get the logo clocked. There we go. Thank you, GrimmSpeed. And we've got access to our oil dipstick, no problem. No interference with our hoses or our air oil separator. Now I'll go back and clean this up, throw some zip ties on these hoses, throw some zip ties on all these connections. These are not pressurized, so they don't need to be crazy tight. We'll just go ahead and put them on there so that they don't slip off, and we'll be good to go. This is one of the easier installs that I've done, honestly. The companies that support the WRX, like GrimmSpeed, are very intuitive. A lot of the stuff that we're getting for these cars is like, I don't know, it's rather simple to install, which is pretty cool. This car has really come a long way. The exhaust, all of the pairing goodies, and now we're starting to install some of these GrimmSpeed parts as well, which these are all cool things. I mean, it's definitely something that you go to Cars and Coffee, pop your hood. It's a cool mod to have. Most importantly, for the longevity of the engine, this air oil separator will help a lot. It'll help stop the buildup in the combustion chamber from the oil that passes by and is tossed back through your intake system. So, yeah, I think this is cool. I don't think it takes away from the overall look of the car. One thing I don't like about this car is the top mount intercooler. I know that's like a Subaru thing and it goes with the hood vent and all that stuff. I'd like to know in the comments if you guys think that this intercooler needs to be changed out for a front mount. I say it does. We are trying to keep this car within CARB compliance. If you're not from the state of California, you might not know what CARB is. CARB is the California Air Resource Board, which is very stringent on the rules and regulations of what your car can and can't do as far as emissions go. I'm not sure if a front mount intercooler is against the CARB regulations or not, so we'll need to look into that. I definitely don't even think about those things, so I'm not sure what the regulation is, but leave some comments for us. If we should go big front mount, let us know. If we should leave the stock intercooler so that the end user, whoever wins this, Throttle VIP that wins this, can make that modification themselves and have fun with it, let us know. We want to hear from you guys. The more comments, the better. So I'm going to sign off today. If you aren't a Throttle VIP, sign up, win yourself a car maybe. There's plenty of other great perks that go along with the Throttle VIP membership. We'd love to have you on the team.